ever notice how gratitude feels quieter the older we get? When we were younger, it was all about manifesting more success, more happiness, more of everything we thought would finally make us feel complete. But somewhere along the way, that loud chase for more turned into something softer. Now, gratitude feels less like a list and more like a lifeline. Because here's the thing about midlife. It humbles you. It strips away the noise and the pretending, and it whispers, hey, what if this right here is enough? I've been sitting with that question lately. What does enough even mean anymore? When I was younger, enough was always just a little bit ahead of me. 5 pounds lighter, a neater house, more well-behaved children, a better version of me. But the older I get, the more I realize that enough isn't out there somewhere. It's right here. And honestly, I've probably been tripping over it for years because it's funny, kind of, because midlife, gratitude doesn't look like a Pinterest board. It's not a perfectly curated morning routine or a 5 a.m. meditation schedule. Sometimes it's just waking up, looking around and saying, okay, nothing's perfect, but I'm still here, and that's something. But we don't always see it, do we? We're so trained to just chase the next thing that we forget to honor the one we already have. So let me ask you, when was the last time you noticed something small and thought, wow, that's enough for me today? Not because it was fancy, not because it was special, but because it reminded you that your life, exactly as it is, holds little moments of grace. The other morning, I had one of those moments. I was sitting on the porch with my coffee, wearing my oversized sweatshirt, because yes, it actually was a little cooler here in the morning, that I've had the sweatshirt for a while. You know, it's that one thing, that's one laundry cycle away from retirement, and I just started. And as I was sitting there, I just started naming what I was thankful for. Not in a write it down to be productive kind of way, just in a let me slow down before life speeds up again kind of way. Because, I mean, let's face it, the holidays are just right around the corner. So the sound of birds and just nature, I listened to that. Just the quiet hum of the neighborhood waking up. The fact that my coffee stayed hot long enough for me to drink the whole cup, which, you know, that's a feat in itself. Just tiny things. Ordinary things. But in that moment, they felt like everything. And I thought, how many times do we overlook these small pieces of enough? Because we're busy chasing someone else's version of more. How many times do we forget that what we have now is what we once prayed for? Maybe gratitude isn't about being thankful after everything falls into place. Maybe It's about finding peace while everything's still messy. And that, to me, is the quiet revolution of gratitude. It shifts your perspective without changing your circumstances. You know, midlife can be a tricky season. You've checked so many boxes: career, family, stability, and yet sometimes there's this lingering ache that whispers, is this it? And maybe that whisper isn't ungratefulness. Maybe it's an invitation to slow down, look around, rediscover what already makes life rich. Because let's be honest, we've all been guilty of measuring our lives by what's missing instead of what's present. We scroll through so many people's highlight reels, see their kitchen remodel or their beach vacation, and suddenly our perfect fine Tuesday night feels small. But what if small isn't bad? What if small is sacred? Sometimes gratitude isn't loud joy. It's quiet awareness. It's realizing that you may not have everything you wanted, but you've got what you need. And that's where peace begins to grow. When I recorded this week's podcast, I think for so many of us, enough has always been something to reach for, like a prize we earn when everything finally just calms down. But what if enough is a mindset we return to over and over again? Gratitude in midlife is less about collecting moments and more about surrendering to them. Letting go of how you thought life should look and embracing the imperfect beauty of how it actually is. And I mean, let's be real, that's not easy. I know it's not easy, especially when, your days feel heavy, your hormones are chaotic, and you're just trying to make it through without losing your keys or your patience or your glasses. But that's exactly where gratitude becomes powerful. It doesn't erase the chaos. It anchors you in the middle of it. So here's what I want you to try this week. Instead of a big gratitude list, just notice one moment a day where you feel a tiny spark of enough. And it could be anywhere. It could be when the light hits your kitchen counter just right. Or when your favorite song comes on during your commute, or just when you're in the car. Or when you catch yourself laughing, really laughing, for the first time in a while. I want you to write it down. Or you don't have to, but write it down if you want. But more importantly, I want you to feel it. Because that's where the shift happens. Not in doing, but in noticing. So, what's your enough right now? What's already in your life that maybe you've overlooked because you were too busy chasing something shinier? And if nothing comes to mind at first, that's okay too. Because sometimes the noticing takes time. Gratitude isn't about perfection. It's about presence. And in midlife, when things are changing faster than we can process, that presence might be our most underrated superpower. Oh, I just lost my train of thought. So, if life's felt heavy lately, I get it. But maybe instead of trying to fix it, we can learn to soften inside it, to find our enough in the middle of the mess. Because gratitude doesn't demand that you change your life. It just reminds you how to love it, even when it's hard. So take a breath with me and fall into gratitude. Let this season be less about doing and more about noticing. And if you want to go a little deeper into this conversation, then head over to the podcast where we talk about how this mindset can truly shift your mood and emotional resilience in midlife. I'm going to link everything below. And if this message resonated with you today, then I would love for you to stick around. You can go ahead and like this video, so give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a single conversation with me and conversations that we have about life, midlife, and finding your enough. And if you want to dive even deeper in today's topic, then like I said, go listen to the podcast where I'm going to share more stories, reflections, and practical ways to anchor your mood with gratitude. You can also follow me on social, Instagram, TikTok, for more daily inspiration, behind the scenes moments, and a little midlife honesty that doesn't always make it into the vlog. So if you also want my thoughts delivered straight to your inbox every week, including tips, encouragement, and the occasional laugh, then subscribe to my weekly email. And you can find all of this in the link in the descriptions, because I promise it's like a cozy note from me to you. So go ahead, take one or all of these steps, and let's keep this conversation going. Because here we celebrate the real, the messy, and the enough together. See you next time.